Hello there, and to all who come to this happy place, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Abby, and I upload Disney planning content here on my channel every Sunday and Thursday. If you have not already, make sure to hit the red subscribe button down below and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Today, I am going to be sharing with you my top picks for dates as far as when you should go to Disney, and my top picks for dates that you should not go to Disney, because there are some that I would say try to stay away from if at all possible. These dates apply specifically to Walt Disney World. These are not Disneyland dates. These are specific to the crowds that are typical throughout the year in Walt Disney World. And to go along with this, I did something a little crazy. I went and scoured the internet for every reputable crowd calendar that I could find, and I compiled all of the data together, and I made the crowd calendar of all crowd calendars, and it is linked in the description down below. So make sure to download that if you haven't already. The only thing you have to do to get it is join my email list, and the email list is basically just where I send email blasts when new promotions come out, big news, all that kind of stuff. So I don't send a ton of emails, and all of it is good stuff. So make sure to download that before you go. So I have 4 sets of dates for when you should go and 4 sets of dates for when you should not go. Now the should go are basically my top picks for the year, and my should not go are the avoid at all costs. However, to go along with my Disney for Dummies series, I am going to be doing a video next week on what to do if you have to go during these times when it's super crazy busy. Because it can be done. It can absolutely be done, and you can still have a magical time, and you should go when you can go. There's no such thing as like a terrible time to go to Disney. There's just such thing as a more crowded time to go to Disney. I have my handy dandy list here, so if you see me looking down, I'm just looking to make sure I tell you the right dates. So the first set of dates that I would say, yes, you should go, would be between January 21st and February 13th. Now, when I saw this, I was super excited because I have multiple family members that are going during this time period. But I am not one of them. However, this is a great time because the crowds are relatively low. You've got some green days. I am going to be referencing this crowd calendar multiple times throughout the video, so if you haven't already, go download that and then come back. There's a lot of green days, there's a lot of yellow days in this time period. As you'll see as you go through the calendar, there aren't really a ton of green days, so you want to take advantage of them when you can. Green are the lowest crowds on that crowd calendar. Now, one of the excellent things about this set of dates is that it covers the Festival of the Arts at Epcot. Now, this is one of my favorite festivals, possibly my favorite Epcot festival, actually. It's a newer festival. It started in 2017 and features all sorts of artsy things, like they have painters everywhere. They have Broadway singers singing on the stage in America. Super fun, love it. Great festival, highly recommend. And it's also nice and cool at this time. Now, it can be downright cold, depending on who you are and where you're coming from, but it's not hot, it's not sweltering, it's not Florida. I mean, it is Florida, but you know what I mean. One of the reasons this set of dates is so good is because kids have all gone back to school, all the colleges are back in session, so there's like a lower number of people that are willing to pull their kids out of school than there are that would come during a break. So that kind of helps here. That same rule applies to this next set of dates, which is going to be April 26th through May 23rd. Now, this is a great time because it falls just after spring break and before summer break. So, and before Memorial Day. Memorial Day, there's like a slight like influx of people. It's not crazy, but like there's noticeably more people. But this set of dates in particular falls right between those windows. And you're gonna have a cooler warmness, so it's going to be warmer than if you went in February, but it's also not gonna be like you went in July and it's sweltering in 900 degrees. So this is a good compromise if you want to do water parks, but you don't want it to be super drenched in sweat for the rest of your vacation. This is a great time to go. I would recommend going earlier rather than later, just because as you get closer and closer to the end of May, you do start to see a little bit more crowds, particularly if you inch toward Memorial Day. If you go between these dates, you will also be able to hit Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival. Now, as you'll notice, all of these dates have some sort of festival associated with them. That's just because Epcot pretty much has a festival going almost all year round. There's just like a couple weeks between festivals, and then they don't do one over most of the summer. But other than that, there's always something going on at Epcot, which is really awesome because the festivals are really well done. My next pick of dates for you is another really long one. It's August 21st through October 2nd. Now, if you go that first week, like the second to last week of August, you're probably not going to hit Food and Wine Festival based on historic dates. However, you will likely be able to do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Now, dates for all of these things are approximate. Nothing is really known until Disney releases the schedule, which will happen sometime in the spring. However, this year, the Food and Wine Festival opened on August 29th. The first Halloween party, I believe, was August 14th or 16th. So if you went during August 21st that week, you'd probably hit the Halloween party, but you might not hit Food and Wine. So just keep that in mind. But if you are from the north and you don't go back to school until after Labor Day, I know other areas of the country do that, but in the south they tend to go back in August. But if you aren't back in school in August, I highly recommend that last week of August. We were there that week this year for the first time, and I was really nervous because it's really hot. And it was hot, but the crowds were also really super low. If you missed the vlogs, I'll link them up in the cards here. But the parks were pretty empty. The lines were not crazy. It was really nice. So I highly recommend that week, actually. Basically, all of September for next year also looks really good. September tends to be a lower crowd time historically. However, we have seen it get a little busier, and October has gotten significantly busier over the last couple of years. One thing, this is purely my theory, I don't have any scientific evidence to back this claim up, so take this with a grain of salt. I am predicting that we are going to see a much less busy fall, particularly like September, October of next year, maybe even into November, because we're getting close to that 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. That's going to be in 2021 for those of you that don't know. So I think that the every couple year people are going to start holding off next year until 2021. So I do think next year is a really awesome year to go. I think overall the year is going to be less busy. However, I also think that particularly the fall is probably going to drop off a little bit. Like I said, that is just what I foresee happening and what I'm seeing with like clients and stuff. I don't have any like proof there, but that's my theory. Take with that what you will. My last set of dates for you is from November 31st through December 16th. Now, this is going to be that lull right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. If you get too close to Christmas, it gets absolutely crazy. And if you get too close to Thanksgiving, it's also super crazy. So this is like that nice like window of time between when the parks are all decorated for Christmas, which is amazing, and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is happening, and Festival of the Holidays at Epcot. So there's a lot of really great stuff going on this time of year, and it is slightly less busy. I would call it like averagely busy. There's not all that many white times anymore, as you'll see in the calendar. Very little green. But like I said, this is based on historical data. So, you know, with 2021 coming, we don't really know how that would affect the data because it's not historic. It's like futuristic. I don't know. So, again, the crowd calendar is a prediction. It is not like a guarantee. So now I'm going to tell you when I think you should try not to go to Disney. Now, if this is the only time that you can go to Disney, go. I'm not saying don't go during these times. I'm saying try to find other times in which to go, just to make your life a little easier. If you must go during these times, then make sure you check out this video here and stay tuned because next week, not on Sunday, but on Thursday, I'm going to be posting a video about what to do if you have to go when it's crazy. So during these no times. That video is going to be full of tips that are really going to help you out if you do have to go during these times. I have family members that have to go during these times because they're teachers or, you know, like work and school schedules. Just this is when you have to go. So these are my dates for that. The first one is November 14th through 18th. This is President's Day weekend. This also applies to Martin Luther King weekend, Columbus Day weekend, anytime that kids have a 3 to 4 day weekend. This isn't so much about the tourists. I mean, it's a little about the tourists, but the locals come in hordes. There's so many. And they just come because they can. They come for the weekend, and they live in Florida. They come for the weekend, and it's really convenient for them to do that because they don't have to pull their kids out of school, but they still get like a nice little break. So the parks are visibly like way busier during those like long weekend times. The next set of dates I have for you is March 8th to April 15th. Now this is like prime spring break, which is why I'm saying don't go during this time. Obviously your kids are going to be out of school at some point during these times because it usually falls around Easter somewhere, and Easter's right smack in the middle of that. So try not to go during spring break. However, if you had to choose between spring break and these last two that I'm going to tell you, I would choose spring break personally. So the next one that I want to tell you is November 20th to 30th. This is that 10-day window around Thanksgiving. I would not go this week. It's crazy busy. Kids are out of school. That's basically all of the things that are on the do not go list is when kids are out of school. If your kids are out of school, everyone's kids are out of school. So keep that in mind. The last set of dates is December 19th through January 4th. Now, I threw a couple day buffer on there. This is just with the way the weekends fall. Usually after the 2nd or so it clears up. But with the way the weekends fall, I would probably call January 4th kind of still busy at that point. This goes for 2019 into 2020 as well as 2020 into 2021. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have a trip next year that is not in either of these date ranges. It is between a couple no's. Actually, it's pretty close to a no. It's pretty close to spring break. However, we're rolling with it. We're doing it. It's okay. That's when we can go. That's when the event that we want to do is, so that's when we're going to go. And that's something that you need to keep in mind. If there is an event that you are trying to hit, sometimes that's more important than the low crowds. So it's all dependent on your family and your family's goals. While the low times are lower crowds, you probably will get there and still think it's kind of busy, especially if you don't go to amusement parks that often, or if you've never been before, it's gonna seem busy. That's just Disney. Take everything with a grain of salt. However, you will wait in shorter lines if you do go when it is less busy. So, use the crowd calendar to plan around certain windows of time when the crowds are crazy. Another thing to keep in mind is that specific parks on specific days can be a good idea or a bad idea, just depending on special events and all of that kind of stuff. Now, to learn more about that, it's really important to work with a travel agent. I'll leave a video linked up here in the cards all about why you need a travel agent, but one of the main reasons is we know about these special events that happen every year but aren't necessarily like a holiday. There are days that are kind of unofficial Disney holidays, and those are busier days in the parks. Like a couple times a year there's something called Zapper Day. You might not want to go to certain parks on Dapper Day because they tend to be much, much busier. However, if you're not familiar with the Disney calendar, you don't know anything about that. So working with a professional is super, super important. Now, in the comments down below, I would love to hear from you. When are you planning on going on your next trip? Are you falling in some of the yes dates, some of the no dates? Are you planning around this crowd calendar? Again, if you haven't already, make sure to download it. It is linked in the description. I worked really hard on it, so please download it. With that being said, I will talk to you guys again on Sunday. I'm going to be posting a tour of our room at the Gran Destino Tower, which is the new tower that opened in Coronado Springs in July. We loved it, obsessed, can't wait to go back, so make sure that you check that out because it was awesome. With that being said, I will talk to you guys again on Sunday, and I hope you have a very happy Halloween. Bye!